as you actually talked about, a lot of the knowing the customer is to find triggers. And triggers are about timing. And instead of just blasting messages at people or overwhelming them, really thinking carefully about the orchestration of which messages to send based on which triggers, in what priority order, with what kind of spacing has a lot of value. When I was at Aetna, when I came in, it was clear I was chief marketing officer there. We were just blasting out all kinds of messages and basically overwhelming people getting, well over 12 messages over a 2-week period, more than one a day. And their open rate on emails was going way down. And by testing and understanding the curve, essentially, of what's the optimal number of emails, it was clear one a week, and then eventually even including texts. One a week was about right. It was enough to keep us top of mind, but it also wasn't overwhelming. And so thinking about that coordination becomes really critical. And that's true in the case of B2B stuff as well. I want to give an interesting B2B example, because some banks, I'm sure, have salespeople, and who do you call on? So yes. Cisco, the technology company, has hundreds of products and thousands of customers. Their salespeople are managing really complicated portfolios of customers with many different products. So what do they talk about? Who do they call on? How do they prioritize their time? It's really hard for a salesperson to work that optimally, and it takes a lot of time to do that. So building on top of the Salesforce platform, Cisco went much further and actually started bringing together data about how customers are using their products, when they've called in to customer service, how they manage permissions and eligibility for their products, looking at the nature of new products that are coming out. They even are looking at public data about their clients and things that might be important, like expanding or contracting or making an acquisition. And based on all of that, they are prioritizing for salespeople who to call on, what to talk about, what content to use. And then based on what actually happens in those interactions and the feedback, they learn and get better. And so the quality of those sales calls have gone up. Customers are actually being more receptive to salespeople interacting with them. The salespeople are way more energized, using this system more often, and it has been a factor in Cisco's growth. So it required tight coordination between marketing and sales. It required bringing together a lot of different types of information, but it's changing the notion of when a salesperson reaches out to a customer, making it way more appropriate. So whether it's a consumer where you're using predictive modeling to do next best action, or in this case, in a business setting, thinking about the right timing and coordinating that can have value in terms of that notion of receptivity. And just one quick side note, as banks, building on the Know Me thing, also start to think about things like digital media networks. I know Chase has announced it. Amex is getting into this area of using their data to help marketers reach customers. We do have to be careful from the banks of whether that's going to lead to consumers feeling they're getting overwhelmed by touches that really come from information that banks have about them. So it's an important development. If done right, it could be really helpful, but it also runs the risk of overwhelming customers too. So there are definitely some tightrope walking ahead.